Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 7, Chapter 13. We heard yesterday how Prahlad Maharaj is, you know, going throughout the universes, and then he comes to the banks of a river and he sees one saintly person there, and he understands this saintly person to be Avadut. So he's put up a question to the saintly person that, you don't seem to be moving. The saintly person had adopted the life of a python. And Prahlad Maharaj said, but you still seem to be quite fat. So I'm amazed at that. Can you please explain to me? So now the Avadut is speaking. Trishnaya bhava vahinya
Trishnaya bhavahinya
yoge kamer apuryaya
yoge kame
Kame
apuryaya
apurya
karmani karyamanoham
karmani
karmani
karyamano
karyamanoham
nana yonishu yojitaha.
nana
nana
yonishu
yonishu
yojitaha.
yojitaha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because of insatiable material desires, I was being carried away by the waves of material nature's laws. And thus, I was engaging in different activities, struggling for existence in various forms of life. As long as a living entity wants to fulfill various types of material desire, he must continuously change from one body to accept another. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that as a small piece of grass falls in a river and is tossed about with different types of wood and tree branches, the living entity floats in the ocean of material existence and is dashed and tossed amidst material conditions. This is called the struggle for existence. One kind of fruitive activity causes the living being to take one form of body, and because of actions performed in that body, another body is created. So, we get a material body, then we act in a particular way, then we get reactions, then to be able to enjoy or suffer the reactions, then again we get another body, then in another body we act in a certain way, then again to enjoy or suffer we have to get another body, and like this the cycle goes on. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that we are like a straw of grass in a river, a small piece of grass. And then, it just gets by the waves of the river, the flow of the river just takes the grass. Sometimes it comes in contact with some other pieces of wood for some time. Then again, it goes by itself. Again, it joins something else. Again, it goes somewhere else. Struggle for existence. So one must therefore stop these material activities, and the chance to do so is given in the human form of life. Specifically, our energy to act should be engaged in the service of the Lord, for then materialistic activities will automatically stop. One must fulfill one's desires by surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, for He knows how to fulfill them. Even though one may have material desires, one should therefore engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That will purify one's struggle for existence. So, because of these desires continuously, we are getting one body, going to another body, acting in a particular way, getting another body. So, we are advised to engage in devotional service. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi Tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. Bhagavatam 2.3.10. So Bhagavatam is saying, we may have all kinds of material desires, or we may have no material desire, or we may desire liberation. Doesn't matter whichever category we come in. Just continue to engage in devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktirottama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.1.11. So Srila Rupa Goswami in his book Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is giving us the definition of pure devotional service. Engaging in service to please Krishna favorably. It should be a favorable service and without desire for liberation, without desire for any kind of mystic siddhis, without desire for any kind of material profit. So that is pure devotional service. Now we may say, oh my God, but I'm not on that level. But that's okay. We go back to the previous verse, what Bhagavatam is saying. Doesn't matter. You still have material desires, still engage in devotional service. Whatever category we come in, we engage in devotional service to Krishna. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go on to the next one. Yadra chaya lokam imam.
Yatra chaya lokam imam
Prapita karma bhir brahman.
prapita karma bhi brahman
Svargapa vargayor dwaram.
swargapa vargayor dwaram
Tirascham punar asya cha.
tirascham punar asya cha.
In the course of the evolutionary process, which is caused by fruitive activities due to undesirable material sense gratification, I have received this human form of life, which can lead to the heavenly planets, to liberation, to the lower species, or to rebirth among human beings. So, who's speaking?
Brahmana.
Yeah,
The sage.
yeah, that's right. The Brahman, the sage, is speaking. All living entities within this material world are undergoing the cycle of birth and death according to the laws of nature. This struggle of birth and death in different species may be called the evolutionary process, but in the Western world, it has been wrongly explained. Darwin's theory of evolution from from animal to man is incomplete because the theory does not present the reverse condition, namely evolution from man to animal. In this verse, however, evolution has been very well explained on the strength of Vedic authority. Human life, which is obtained in the course of the evolutionary process, is a chance for elevation, swarga pavarga, or for degradation, tirascham punar asya cha. If one uses this human form of life properly, he can elevate himself to the higher planetary systems, where material happiness is many thousands of times better than on this planet. Or one may cultivate knowledge by which to become free from the evolutionary process and be reinstated in one's original spiritual life. This is called apavarga or liberation. So the Brahman is explaining that based on our desires, we are acting. And then based on these activities, then the Mother Nature is giving us different bodies. So Prabhupada is explaining that Darwin is explaining, okay, from man, from animal coming to man as a process, evolutionary process. But also, we can see that from man, one can also again take an animal body on this, on the evidence of the scriptures. The scriptures are saying that yes, we do. The soul goes from all the different species, from the plants. Then there's the fish, like the aquatics, right? Then we have the birds. Then we have the animals. Then coming to human beings. But from human beings, again, how are we acting? If one acts piously, then one goes on to heavenly planets, enjoy more over there, better standard of happiness. Or one can again go down, become an animal, or go to the hellish planets. Or one can cultivate spiritual life. Understand, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. So then he can head to the spiritual world. So in the human form of life, we have this choice. We have this choice that we are making. Our next destination, where should it be? Is it going to be in the heavenly planets, or in the spiritual world, or back to the animals or trees? Material life is called pavarga because here we are subject to 5 different states of suffering, represented by the letters pa, pa, ba, bha, and ma. Pa means parishram, very hard labor. Pa means pena, or foam from the mouth. For example, sometimes we see a horse foaming at the mouth with heavy labor. Ba means vyarthata, disappointment. In spite of so much hard labor, at the end we find disappointment. Bha means bhai, or fear. In material life, one is always in the blazing fire of fear, since no one knows what will happen next. Finally, ma means mrityu, or death. When one attempts to nullify these 5 different statuses of life, pa, pa, ba, bha, and ma, one achieves apavarga, or liberation, from the punishment of material existence. So now, why is material life called pavarga?
Because there are 5 different states of suffering. Na?
Yeah, 5 stages. Now let's see what are those 5 states of suffering. What is pa stands for?
Means very hard labor.
Yeah, hard labor, parishram. We are working so hard. We see so much hard effort has to be put. Then pa, what is that?
The foam from the mouth, like
Yeah,
the horse or maybe a dog
yeah,
also.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And ba,
Disappointment.
disappointment. Have any of you been disappointed?
Many times.
Right? Right? We can all identify with it, right?
Yeah,
Parishram.
something doesn't work out
Yeah.
to your then there is disappointment.
Yeah, and
But I
especially
think it gets better after we are reading and we getting the knowledge, so we know we have to just let go. It is all His will, the Lord's will. But
yeah,
still,
you're a devotee.
yeah,
So
devotee.
yeah, you're a devotee. So but otherwise one may feel so disappointed that hey, I worked so hard, but now what
Yeah.
happened? But yeah, devotee will say whatever is in the hands of the Lord. So bhai, what is bhai?
Yeah.
Fear. Fear. Are we fearful?
I think everyone is fearful.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in this material world, yeah, this is one thing, it's there. Yes.
Yeah. And then ma, finally ma,
Mrityu, death.
mrityu, death. So we can see that it's true, in this material world, we do have all these five things. And each of us is going through these five things. It's being called pavarga. Okay, the word tirashcham refers to degraded life. Human life, of course, provides an opportunity for the best living conditions. As Western people think, from the monkeys come the human beings who are more comfortably situated. However, if one does not utilize his human life for svarga or apavarga, he falls again to the degraded life of animals like dogs and hogs. Therefore, a sane human being must consider whether he will elevate himself to the higher planets, prepare to free himself from the evolutionary process, or travel again through the evolutionary process in higher and lower grades of life. So we have a choice. Only in this human form we have this choice. What will be our next destination? Are we going to go to the heavenly planets, or are we going to the spiritual world, or are we going to lower forms of life, animal life? If one works piously, one may be elevated to the higher planetary systems or achieve liberation and return home back to Godhead. But otherwise, one may be degraded to a life as a dog, a hog, and so on. As explained in Bhagavad Gita 9:25, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. Those interested in being elevated to the higher planetary systems, Devalok or Swargalok, must prepare to do so. Similarly, if one wants liberation and wants to return home back to Godhead, he should prepare himself for that purpose. Because we have to act. It's not that we can't act, we have to keep on working. Can't sit down and do nothing. So then we have to make a choice that what kind of work do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And based on that, then we have to act accordingly. Action we must take. We can't say, okay, I will not do anything. Not possible. The soul is always active. So, our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore the highest movement for the benediction of human society, because this movement is teaching people how to go back home, back to Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 13:22, it is clearly stated that different forms of life are obtained by association with the three modes of material nature. Karanam guna sango sya sad asad yoni janmassu. According to one's association with the material qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in this life, in one's next life, one receives an appropriate body. The modes of nature. For example, we see mode of goodness, then they'll be in the heavenly planets. Mode of passion on this earthly planet. A mode of ignorance will be an animal body. A mode of passion, earthly planet in the form of human beings. And then ignorance will be animal. So like that, the modes of nature do affect. Modern civilization does not know that because of varied association in material nature, the living entity, although eternal, is placed in different diseased conditions known as the many species of life. Modern civilization is unaware of the laws of nature. Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha ahankar vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the performer of activities that are in actually carried out by nature. Bhagavad Gita 3:27. Every living entity is under the full control of the stringent laws of material nature, but rascals think themselves independent. You see, because we are the soul. Now, this sometimes we are in the body of a dog, sometimes in body of human being, sometimes in body of demigod, sometimes in body of a bird. And whichever body we are in, we are acting according to that body. If we are an animal, four-legged animal, we are walking on all fours. If we are a bird, we are flying, and then we think, I am doing it. But actually, we are the soul, not the body at all. So it's being performed by the modes of nature. But we think we are doing it. It's the soul doing it. But it's just the modes of nature that are controlling the body. If we are a tree, we just stand in one place for thousands of years, maybe, or hundreds of years. Whereas if we are a dog can't sit in one place, keep walking around, keep jumping around. But the same soul, when the same soul is in the body of a tree, stands in the same place for hundreds of years. So every living entity is under the full control of the stringent laws of material nature, but rascal thinks themselves independent. Actually, however, they cannot be independent. This is foolishness. A foolish civilization is extremely risky, and therefore the Krishna consciousness movement is trying to make people aware of their fully dependent condition under the stringent laws of nature, and is trying to save them from being victimized by strong Maya, which is Krishna's external energy. Behind the material laws is the supreme controller Krishna, Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, Suyate Sacharacharam. Therefore, if one surrenders unto Krishna, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite, one may immediately be freed from the control of external nature. Sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This should be the aim of life. So we are under the modes of nature, no matter which body we take in the material world. We are controlled by the modes of nature, and Krishna is saying if we at all want to get freed from the modes of material nature, what do we have to do?
Surrender.
Surrender. Yeah, that's right. We have to surrender to Krishna if we at all want to get free of these modes of nature. Okay? So surrender begins by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we need to hear about Krishna from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita. Then gradually, we can get free from these modes. Okay. Any comments, questions?
So the Brahmana who is speaking now, he has come to this stage of getting liberation, or maybe he knows that if he doesn't act, he may have to fall. He understands this.
Yeah,
Or
that's
this,
this
okay. Or
Brahmana
is
is
this,
speaking.
yeah, this is Brahmana speaking, right? It's
Yeah.
because there is the text where Prabhupada is explaining. So this is also Brahmana speaking, right?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when the
Okay.
Brahmana is here saying that, through the evolutionary process, because of these material desires, he says that I'm in this human form of life, and in this human form of life, I can choose where I can go, where I want to go. I can go
Okay.
either to the hellish planet, I can go to the heavenly planet, or I can get liberation, or again be born as human beings. So the Brahmana is very learned. He's a great
Yeah.
personality. He has so much knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So then going on, tatrapi dampatinam cha
Tatrapi dampatinam cha
sukhayan ya panutaye
sukhayan yapanutaye
karmani kurvatam drishtva
karmani karvatam drishtva
nivritosmi viparyayam.
nivrito asmi viparyayam.
In this human form of life, men and women unite for the sensual pleasure of sex. But by actual experience, we have observed that none of them are happy. Therefore, seeing the contrary results, I have stopped taking part in materialistic activities. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Yan Maitunadi Grahamedi Sukhami Tucham. Man and woman both seek sexual enjoyment, and when they are united by the ritualistic ceremony of a marriage, they are happy for some time. But finally, there is dissension, and thus there are so many cases of separation and divorce. So, because what happens is one is entering into marriage thinking it's going to be like, like some kind of utopia where there's going to be no struggles. It's going to be just everything going my way. Everything is going to be perfect. You know, the way we need to get into a marriage is understanding it's a duty. It's a duty that we need to perform for the pleasure of Krishna. But then we are entering it trying to get something, and then that's what leads to disappointment, separation. So, although every man and woman is actually eager to enjoy life through sexual unity, the result is disunity and distress. Marriage is recommended to give men and women a concession for restricted sex life, which is also recommended in Bhagavad Gita by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the sexual urge is very strong. Krishna understands it, and that's why the institution of marriage is there. It states, okay, yes, you have a sexual urge, okay, get married. Yeah. So, dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi, sex life, not against the principles of religion, is Krishna. Every living entity is always eager to enjoy sex life because materialistic life consists of eating, sleeping, sex, and fear. In the animal life, eating, sleeping, sexual enjoyment, and fear cannot be regulated. But for human society, the plan is that although men, like animals, must be allowed to eat, sleep, enjoy sex, and take protection from fear, they must be regulated. So it is a basic need, whether we are an animal body or human body. It's a need of the body, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Eating, sleeping, sexual enjoyment, and fear. So what happens in animal body, it's unregulated. There is no like kind of laws or moral codes. But for a human being, it has to be regulated. There are moral codes. Eat in a regulated way, eat foods in the mode of goodness, sleep in a regulated way, have sex in a regulated way, and also defend in a regulated way. So the Vedic plan for eating recommends that one take yagya, shishta or prasad, food offered to Krishna. Yagya, shishta, ashina, santo, muchyante, sarva kilbishe. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food that is first offered for sacrifice. Bhagavad Gita 3.13. So, can't give up eating. So what we do? We eat prasad, offer to Krishna, and then eat. In material life, everyone commits sinful activities, especially in eating. And because of sinful activities, one is condemned by nature's laws to accept another body, which is imposed as punishment. Okay, sex and eating are essential, and therefore they are offered to human society under Vedic restrictions, so that according to the Vedic injunctions, people may eat, sleep, enjoy sex, be protected from fearful life, and gradually be elevated and liberated from the punishment of material existence. So we have to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Okay, we have to do it. Animals are eating, sleeping, mating, defending. They're also doing. But we as human beings, we have a duty to understand our true reality, understand our relationship with Krishna, understand we are not the body, we are the soul. We don't have to only be fully consumed by eating, sleeping, mating, defending. we need to also understand, oh, okay, I'm not the body, I am the soul. So for maintaining the body, I do this, but I'm the soul. So let me also hear and chant. Okay. Thus, the Vedic injunctions for marriage offer a concession to human society. The idea being that a man and woman, united in a ritualistic marriage ceremony, should help one another advance in spiritual life. So this was the Vedic marriage was supposed to be like that. Husband and wife, they they act as a team. They help each other towards the spiritual goal. Unfortunately, especially in this age, men and women unite for unrestricted sexual enjoyment. Thus, they are victimized, being obliged to take rebirth in the forms of animals to fulfill their animalistic propensities. The Vedic injunctions therefore want Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Nirloke Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbhujam Ye. One should not enjoy sex life like hogs and eat everything, even to the limit of stool. A human being should eat prasad, offered to the deity, and should enjoy sex life according to the Vedic injunctions. He should engage himself in the business of Krishna consciousness. He should save himself from the fearful condition of material existence. And he should sleep only to recover from fatigue due to working hard. So the idea is that a human being has to regulate all these bodily necessities and related to Krishna. All eating, sleeping, mating, defending, everything related to Krishna. The learned Brahmana said that since everything is misused by fruitive workers, he had retired from all fruitive activities. But one may not understand this, and then one may overindulge in it. So the Brahmana is saying everybody is just misusing. Everybody is just eating, sleeping, mating, defending without understanding the purpose or without regulating. So I've given it up. Given up all this action of working on the fruitive platform. Any comments, questions?
Rest and recover. Very beautifully ended the verse. You
Yeah.
have to come back to, act. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you have got that distaste now, you have to start to act.
Yeah, because we can't sit doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know? We are going to do something or the other.
Yeah.
Some activity we will do. So, Krishna. Krishna says, whatever you do it for me, O Arjuna. So, doing our duties for the pleasure of Krishna. Yeah. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna, do your duty for my pleasure. So this is a little longer. So let's stop here for today.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur
Jai.
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna. Thank you so much for listening.